At this time, we'll take a moment of silence for our assemblyman that recently passed away, Frank Scartatos. Frank was very instrumental in helping us over the past few years, quite a few years, during the budget crunch that we had in a lot of districts in the area. So his area he supported quite well, was able to secure additional funding for us and also for our neighboring school districts. So let's take a moment of silence for Frank. Thank you. Tonight we open up with our public hearing for the budget, and then we'll have an opportunity to, if our candidates are here for the position of school board member, we'll allow them to speak also. So Louise, would you like to start off with our superintendent and run us through our 2018-19 budget?
So good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming tonight, and for all you out there watching, either eventually watching. Tonight we're presenting the 18-19 school budget. As you know, at the end of the day, we all have the same mission. We want really to make the best possible schools for our students, give them the best possible future, to make them productive global citizens as per our mission statement. Certainly at a price that the public and the taxpayers can afford. So the goals, some of the main things in the budget itself that we'll be talking a little bit about tonight. So increased security personnel. The board and the administration is still in discussions about what exactly that will look like. So that could either be increased security personnel similar to what we have now at each building, or it could be a police officer and or an SRO. So, but we are looking at that increased security. Security certainly in today's day and age is of paramount to have in schools. We want the students to be safe, we want them to feel safe, and we want the parents and guardians to feel safe and know that their students are safe. A STEM teacher at the high school that is science, technology, engineering, and math. So we have a lot of great things at our high school. We have a lot of offerings, a lot of college offerings, but we are lacking in the STEM area, so computers. So there's no real computer program once the students get to the high school level. Half-time reading teacher. Again, this is based on the students that we do have. The needs are there, so that would be at the secondary level. An athletic trainer to be at all sporting events, to help prevent injury, to treat injury, and to do concussion management. And then new athletic programs from winter track, modified boys and girls lacrosse, modified cross country, and swimming, or gymnastics, yes. So some of the highlights from this past year. Well, the big one, this is district-wide. This is everyone from the kindergarten teacher to the senior teacher to custodians, food service workers, secretaries, everyone. It's a collective effort. 95% graduation rate. So too often, the papers are only printing the bad things about schools. We want to hear the good things about schools, like a 95% graduation rate. That's incredible. That means only a few students didn't graduate. And remember, just keep in mind graduation rate. The state doesn't count August graduates as part of, that's our 4-year graduation rate. I can almost guarantee that if you added in the August graduates that don't count in that number, it's going to be close to 100%. So keep in mind the county average is 86%. So that's an incredible achievement for our whole Highland family.
A few of our other highlights. This year, I've spoken about it already, but we have full implementation of our Teachers College Readers Workshop, which is a K-5 reading program. Before that, we didn't have something that was common to every classroom. So our elementary school teachers have done great work with that Teachers College. We're looking at next year adding in writing to that as well. And then we continue to do work with STEM and robotics in all 3 of our buildings. I'm going to put a couple of pictures up there, but our Tech TA at the elementary school is doing work in many different grade levels with the robotics as well as computer programming. We have work being done with our library media specialists at the middle school as well as some work in our tech program. And at the high school, there's work being done with Bex robots. We'll be showing you some of those kinds of things as we move through the rest of the year. And then another thing we're very proud of and that we're hoping to see success with when we get the results of our state tests is an after-school academy that has been offered to students to help them stay engaged in school as well as to reinforce skills and to try to close our achievement gap. There's a great write-up about it in our budget newsletter, and we had very positive responses from students for that.
Okay, this year we did establish, in connection with the Lloyd Police Department and the Highland Rotary Club, the Highland Community Task Force. We need to hit the opioid epidemic head on, and the police will tell you, you're not going to wrest your way out of this problem. This is a nationwide problem. It's all about education and awareness. Education and awareness. So that's what we've been doing. So many of you have been following along with the school year. Trooper Craig Better has been in our schools, in the middle school and high school. He's met with all students on topics from the opioid addiction and drug prevention to internet safety. He has also met with our entire staff, our faculty and staff, on the same topics. Back in February, we had the airing, the premiere of Not My Child video, the locally produced video about, opioid awareness and education, featuring, people from the area who've been impacted terribly by the opioid crisis. No one is immune from this. We actually have our second viewing this Thursday. So in February, that was for the winter athletes who were required to go, and we packed the house. I mean, it was a full auditorium. This Thursday, it's for spring athletes, but also certainly this is open to the entire public. So we continue to make this a top priority, and I know that Chief Wage and Christine Grasso from Highland, this is their top priority. So we're working together, and together we're going to make a dent in our part of the world in this problem.
Another focus that we've had K-12 is talking about that college and career readiness. Of course, college we talk about every single day and their academic preparation, but we also focus on career readiness. And part of that is exposing students to as many careers as possible, not only within our community, but outside the community as well. So starting down at the elementary school, there was a career day, I think in March, where students were able to dress up as something that they wanted to be when they grew up. And so everywhere from kindergarten to 5th grade, we had firefighters, we had teachers, we had scientists, we had about any superheroes, I think we had a few of, about anything that you could possibly want. At the middle school, we had our second middle school career fair. Ms. Connors and Mrs. Sheldon at the middle school asked people from the community and to talk to our students, and part of that process was having students learn how to ask questions, learn how to present themselves, learn how to stand up straight, look someone in the eye, and shake the hands of the people that they want to hire them. So that was a very successful day for us. It's the second year that we've done that. And then we also, the Home and Careers class in 7th grade every year visits Dutchess Community College and gets a tour of the college as well as an introduction to many of the programs that they offer at Dutchess. They get to interact with some students, they sit in classrooms, they talk to students who are there. So it's another way for us at a fairly early age to expose them to a college experience and again get them thinking about what they might want to do once they leave here. At the high school, we had a group of students who went to a job fair up in Kingston. Again, getting that experience, the real life experience of looking for a job and going through the skills that you need to actually land the job. We had a group of students that went to a behind the scenes look at Jet Stadium. So they actually got to tour the stadium, but as part of that, they met with many different people involved in the whole program. So I don't believe they met very many football players, but they talked to people in marketing, they talked to people in sales, they talked to, I'm not remembering off the top of my head right now, probably about 5 or 6 different people within that organization, and then as part of the day, they also get a ticket to go to a game in the fall with their family. Our Flex program at the high school is out and about in the community, again, looking at jobs that are open and possibly available to them and seeing what the people in our community do. You can check our Twitter feed, we get lots of pictures of how much they are out and about in the community. And of course, there's we have a guidance program called Naviance that students use that starts to identify what kinds of professions they might want based on their interests. So we do a lot of talking about what they're going to do after high school, whether that's going on to a 2 or 4-year college or going into the workforce. So we try to prepare them all the way along. Our staff also has a lot of pride in what they do and take time to further their knowledge about what they do. We've had a lot of recognition over the course of this year for our faculty and staff across the board. Our 3 cooks from the 3 different buildings attended a Safe Serve or Serve Safe, I can't remember which it was, PD, Serve Safe. PD upstate this summer, where they learned some not only cooking, but again, like it sounds, how to safely handle the food and present it to our students. Mrs. Sickles, our elementary school assistant principal, she went with a group of teachers on a Saturday in October down to Columbia College, to Teachers College, to learn more about the Teachers College program. In fact, took a whole bus. Mrs. Trapani, one of our math teachers at the high school, wrote a grant so that she was able to get some robotics for her program. We have Mr. Wilk, one of our security people at the elementary school. All 3 of our security guards got the Highland Husky Award for their service and their dedication to our district. More professional development, opening day. We had our teachers and later our TAs and As participate in a poverty simulation. We're very proud of Christine Sorbello, who was named the, runner-up bus driver of the year. She just received that award about 2 weeks ago. I think Dr. Paff, who is our high school psychologist, Mr. Harris and I presented at the New York State Association of School Psychologists talking about our transgender students and policies at the high school. And then if you get a chance, you can stop by the bulletin board right out here. Our faculty have many, many other accomplishments, and we're very proud of that dedication that they bring to our students on a daily basis. And then, as always, we're very proud of the connections our students and our staff make with our community. This is just a very few examples of the kind of work that our students are initiating in the building. We had during April, our PBIS team brought in paper grocery sacks from Hannaford's, and the students decorated them with slogans and pictures and then Hannaford's handed them out on Earth Day as Earth Day awareness. Our Honor Society group adopted a portion of highway in in the town of Lloyd, so they work on keeping that clean. Veterans Day, Mrs. Yule's 5th grade class brought in several, I think about 10 veterans of many different wars to speak with the 5th grade students and to share their stories. The students were able to ask questions. It was a really great day. And down in the corner there, our National Junior Honor Society from the middle school collected over 1,000 food items to donate to the United Methodist Church food pantry. So that's a small selection. We have students that are going to homeless shelters. We have students that are really all over the community trying to share what we do here with members of the community.
So in order to fund all of the wonderful things that we're showing you, we've done a rollover budget and we've added just a few items, and that results in a 5.63% budget-to-budget increase with an associated levy increase of 4.45. So a couple of things, and we talk about it every year around this time. Around the state, it's known as the 2% tax cap limit. We all know, because we've spoken about this indefinitely, it feels like, that 2% is not a true 2% because of the exclusions relative to debt and other items that are already voter approved. So this tax cap that the 4.45 would raise would require a 50% voter approval. It is a simple majority, and it really is driven mostly by the 1 year of debt we have. The first year of the 2014 referendum, the costs associated with that debt, which we recognize will not be identical and the same next year. We looked at that at another board meeting, and we recognize that duplication of old debt and new debt will drop off in the 1920 school year. So the proposed budget that will support the 18-19 program is $45,280,769, which is a $2.4 million increase over the prior year spending, which equates to that 5.63%. The levy, with the increase that again is at the limit, not above the limit, generates $28,464 in tax revenue. The increase to state aid is the $15,231,000. Other revenues in pilot, we know that's not a significant part of our budget, and leftover appropriated fund balance of $1.5 million. So it is a balanced budget. So the tax cap yields, as compared to prior year, $1,193,000 additionally. Again, there's the appropriated fund balance that we are using with leftover funds from the current year budget, which is consistent with prior years. And the state aid increase, we got an additional amount of $278,000 over the initial aid increase that was provided by the governor. So this is the New York State approved budget, is $1,185,760. So a couple of things that we continue to discuss. You know, we've talked about current law and how current law would allow foundation aid to be fully funded. That's not the case. The state has decided to hold off on that because they probably can't afford it. But so a couple of things that will continue to, I guess I'll consider them unknown. Equalization rates and assessed value will not be set until July and August. Assessed value is finalized early July. It appears to me at this point, again, we have 5 different townships, but it appears that they're growing ever so slightly, which is an encouraging sign. Equalization rates, they're all around 100%. Again, those will be set in August. But the impact of this budget for a $100,000 home is $8.53 a month. A $200,000 home, $17 a month, and a $300,000 home is $25.60. Again, these are estimates, because we won't know definitively until we have equalization and assessed values exactly what those will be. But we feel fairly confident that we're certain they'll be within that range.
Louise, quick
Yes.
question. Is there any indication on the growth in assessed value right now? Have you gotten any of that from the?
Just from the town of Lloyd, and it looks like there is a modest amount of growth. And by the way, that's good news, because for years it was decreasing. So there's slight growth there. I haven't checked with the other 4 towns. I'll just say one more thing, by the way. The more growth you have in your assessed value, you have more assessed value to spread the collection of that over. So that's a good thing from the tax perspective.
We just want to remind everyone, just so they can get an idea. So as far as per pupil spending, so you can see we're right in line with districts our size for general education and for total spending, but for all of New York districts, we are slightly below the average. So kind of keep in perspective. We also have an $8 million capital project. So we felt it was important, instead of you necessarily listening to us, I know a lot of people did get a chance to see it, but we're going to pull up the video. It's about 7-8 minutes. I think it's important for the board and the public to see it here at our presentation. So we are going to show that video. I'm sure we'll get it right up.
First, approximately 66% of the overall cost, including interest, will be reimbursed by New one-year state building aid, with the state covering almost $5.3 billion of the cost, we are able to complete a level of work that would not be fiscally possible to include in the annual school operating budget. Also in 2015, voters authorized the establishment of a capital reserve to help save money to fund future facility needs. To date, $425,000 is available and will be used to help offset the taxpayers' cost of the proposed project. Lastly, starting in June of 2019, expenses for past capital projects are reduced as old debt is paid off. After applying state aid and the funds in the capital reserve, the costs associated with the new debt will replace the portion of the retiring debt that is currently in the annual operating budget. The result is the ability to complete $8 million worth of work without the need to raise additional taxes. So what will this project cover? The identified work has been prioritized to address the most pressing needs that can be addressed without increasing taxes. The proposal is designed to improve safety and health conditions of our students, upgrade some infrastructure items that are reaching the end of their useful life, improve energy efficiency, and enhance some sweeping programs. So let's take a closer look at the proposed scope of work. After the district completes the transition to a keyless swipe card access system, all interior and exterior doors will be rekeyed, improving internal security. External lighting will be upgraded at all 3 buildings in the district. Current lighting is inefficient and ineffective, especially at the middle school, which creates safety and security issues. Additional switch racks for technology are needed to support the new digital security cameras that will soon be installed. Some of the interior emergency lighting at the middle school is antiquated and does not meet current building code standards. New units can be installed. Our buses transport over 1,700 students daily, so the ability for the dispatcher and drivers to quickly communicate is paramount. During a power outage, the transportation team loses communication functions with phones, computers, and radios. Other important functions that are hindered are the ability to pump gas and operating the garage bay doors. There are similar concerns at the middle school, with the added worry about the loss of refrigeration in the school kitchen. Installing generators in these 2 locations would assist in reducing these risks. 2 new underground fiber lines would replace existing lines installed in the 1990s. These lines are responsible for providing the middle school with the data connectivity used for both instructional purposes and all essential communication functions. One of them is already out of service, and if the second line fails, there is a backup. During high school dismissal, the buses, staff, and student vehicles are all intermixed in the rear parking lot, generating high pedestrian traffic. Relocating the bus loop and redesigning the exterior pedestrian flow is planned to enhance safety and circulate foot traffic into the new security vestibule. The pneumatic controls which operate the heating and ventilation systems at the middle school would be replaced, and at the elementary school, 1971-era classroom units would be upgraded. Several worn and inefficient HVAC dampers from the 1960s would be replaced at the high school. The current translucent paneled roof over the high school library media center was installed in 2001 and is nearing the end of its lifespan. Evidence of deterioration on the panels has been noted, which is indicative of pending system failure. The replacement roof will contain a UV coating to help reduce heat transfer and result in a reduction of energy consumption. Sewer pumps at the high school, which are reaching their end of life, will be upgraded. The outside basketball court at the middle school is cracked and uneven. Further deterioration would result in the court becoming unsafe and unusable. The court would be resurfaced. Age-worn stage curtains at the high school would be replaced. An upgrade to a modern ceiling-mounted projector and the installation of a larger screen is also included. The physical education and equipment rooms in the central administration offices were created by adding interior walls to larger spaces. This method of adding space creates difficulties for regulating heat. Air temperature systems would be reconfigured in these areas. And finally, some projects that focus on improving safety have been recommended. However, the specifics will be kept confidential for security purposes. Even though there is no new tax increase anticipated with the project, it is still important for you to get out and exercise your right to vote. Voters can weigh in on the capital project during the annual budget vote in Board of Education elections, which will take place on Tuesday, May 15th. Polls will be open from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. at the Highland High School band room. The capital project will appear as Proposition 2 on the ballot. Please, if you have any questions about the project or about the school budget itself, don't hesitate to call the district at 691-1014. And thank you for your interest and in taking the time to learn about this project.
And I want to thank Holly Brooker for taking the lead and putting that film together. Again, you can see it covers really the project very concisely. That is on YouTube, that is on our website, and it's also on Facebook, the school's Facebook page. So it's available in many areas.
So the video we just watched, it actually addressed this. But so the way this project would be funded is through building aid. Obviously, this project would be funded over 15 years. It's considered a renovation based on New York State Facilities Department. They consider something like this over a 15-year payback. So we would get building aid over those 15 years, about 66%. The $425,000 would be offset. That's the money that we have set aside. It's unspent funds that we put into that capital reserve fund since 2015. And then the additional amount that would be funded, that 28.5%, would be an annual payment. But since we have debt dropping off in this 18-19 budget year, it actually would be just a replacement of old debt. So that's why when you see that there's no tax increase, that's how it's calculated.
So we also continue to replace our buses. We talked about this when we first presented the budget. Just like with anything the school uses, you need to have a replacement cycle. So there were a couple of years there, 2012, 2013, 14, where we either didn't replace a bus or had very low replacement. So that put us behind a little bit. So we did 9 previous year, either 7 or 8 the year before. So this is 7. So we'll get back on a more regular schedule of between 5 to 7 vehicles. So you can see those are the vehicles that will need a replacement. Again, that is almost 60% aided though on transportation aid. So we certainly get great feedback or money back from the state, so there's minimal tax impact. Now, being on the Board of Education is one of the best and most noble things that a member of the public can do. So sometimes people praise the school district, and sometimes, as is their right, they criticize the school district. But to step up and do the work of a board member, for a member, the paycheck, okay, this is all on their own time. So people who have spouses, family, friends, children, they give up that time to do that. So I do thank those members. And I welcome Camila Doma, who was running for a board seat, Mike Picatsius and Ed Mizell, who are running for re-election. And I know that a little later in this meeting, we'll be hearing from each of those candidates. So thank you very much for stepping up for the children and for the community. Again, just a reminder, you got to get out and vote. So you have to be 18, of course, a citizen, resident of Highland for at least the last 30 days, and you have to be registered. And you have until May 10th, actually, to register to vote if you're not registered. Again, you know that is when the vote is 6 to 9 p.m. here at the high school. And if you are setting in an absentee ballot, we have to have that by 5 p.m. on the 15th. Okay, any questions from the board and or?
Well, before we open it up to
Yes.
the public, I think at this point in time, does any board member have any questions regarding the budget? If not, I'd like to, and then we'll have the candidates that
Yes.
are going to be able to introduce themselves and say a little something. I just want to thank the administrative team for putting this budget together. We as a board look at a whole binder full of information that comes our way as far as growth in the district, as far as what's needed to increase our infrastructure, what's needed to service the students, and then we have to weigh that against the revenue side. So it's a very difficult task for the Board of Education. It's a balancing act. Do we ever always get it right? In some people's mind, no. In some, yes. And that's the good thing about it, is that it goes to the public. And the public has the opportunity to vote on the spending plan that we put forth. We also this year had 2 propositions. An annual proposition, for the most part, is our busing. And I don't think that the community in general realizes that even though we have a student population around 1,700 students, thereabouts, that we don't only transport within the confines of the Highland Central School District. I believe the last time I heard we were transporting to roughly 32, 35 different locations throughout the area. That's not just Highland, that's Ulster County, Dutchess County, Orange County, maybe even going up to Columbia County. So the district transports students of need for a long range beyond the Highland Central School District. So that's something that's important, that for us to maintain a fleet that passes inspection for the most part, anywhere from, I'm going to say in the last 5-6 years, 98, 99, 100% passing. And that's very difficult to ascertain. The state comes down and they pretty much, and you can ask Mr. Miller, you can ask anyone that's involved in the transportation department, that they come down with white gloves and they inspect every fitting, everything that's on that bus to ensure the safety of our students. So once we put hundreds of thousands of miles on those buses and they reach an age of 12, 14, 16 years, it's time to replace them. So we keep that annual replacement plan going forward to not get into any situations where buses are going to be taken out of service and then we have to scramble for replacement. So it's a lot than just transporting within our own community. And the bond proposition, it's something that we alone as the Board of Education did not come up with the scenario that we needed to move forward with another capital project. With the help of our business official, Louise Lynch, we were able to realize that we have debt dropping off and this is the best time to move a bond issue forward. I know a lot of people will hesitate and say, well, you're just wrapping up a $17.5 million budget. But if we don't move and debt drops off and then we have that spike in taxes at some point in time, it's not beneficial to the community. So we enlisted the help of our previous community team to come forward and help us develop this $8 million project. And we got the support of those individuals that sat on a committee during the original defeat of the $25 million budget bond proposition, and were able to bring it down to 17.5. They supported it. They were able to come forward and sit with us and help us support this project and bring it to the voters. And again, thank you to the voters. Several years ago, we initiated that capital reserve, and that was something that I always wanted to do because that's money that's put in a reserve account that at some point in time we can pull from it with voter approval and help offset the increase of any bond proposition for capital improvement. So all in all, I want to thank our superintendent and his entire administrative team And that's going right down to the principals, directors, all their input in developing the budget and bringing it forward to the Board of Education. And again, to the board for the hours of time put in to review all the information that was given to us and be able to come up with a budget that we hope is going to move forward. And my last comment is I'm asking the community at large to view that video on the capital project, to realize the bus proposition, and also to realize where we are with our neighboring community school districts as far as the budget. We're one of the lowest. You can't compare us to Westchester. You can't compare us to upstate New York. You have to compare us to the local districts in our surrounding area. And we by far are the lowest in that area. So that's a thank you to the Board of Education over the last, I don't know how many years, to be able to do that. So I want to thank everybody again, and hopefully we can move forward from here. At this time, I think we'll introduce the new candidates that are running, two incumbents and one newcomer. So, Ed, would you like to say a few things?
I know we have a lot going on still, so I'll just make it brief. My name is Ed Meisel. I've been a resident here in Highland since I married a Highland girl back in '95, so it's been 23 years at least. They go by fast. We have 2 children here in the district, and my wife Anne-Marie does teach in the high school. It hasn't been easy being on the board, the time commitment. Originally I thought it was simply we met once a month during the board meeting, or twice a month during the board meetings, but it's far more than that. But it's been my great pleasure to do so. New York State is very distinct about the duties of a board member being to preserve the fiscal and physical viability of the schools within a district. And it's a very difficult job because it's a balancing act, one that requires money and one that requires a lot of effort and a lot of cooperation. And not at all, least of all, it requires that the people in the district support it. Highland is very generous. It has a wonderful group of people. And I know every time the tax bills come by, it's not an easy thing because I received one myself. But linked to your home ownership and property value, the school district and its value, its function, is a very important quality. I'm sure any real estate agent will tell you that the value of your home, when people come looking for a house, is determined very strongly by the strength of its district. And I think Highland is one that we should be proud of. Like I said, I know it hurts when the tax bill comes, and I'm proud of this board because I know they work very hard to keep those numbers down whenever possible. However, when you're looking at issues of security, roofs not falling down on the children, and the schools remaining warm for the kids, I think it's very easy to make the choice of the money there. So these last 3 years, while not easy on my family's time, they've been a pleasure, and serving with these people in particular. And I look forward to if you'll have me again for the next 3 years. So thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. I am seeking my 3rd term on the school board. Many of you know my background, but just very quickly, I've lived in the Highland community for 20 years. My wife is a teacher, and we have 3 boys together. Why continue? Why the school board? I happen to be a very passionate supporter of public education. I believe it is a institution that makes this country great and will continue to do so in the future. We have the best educational system in the world because of what we do and how we approach it. We teach every child. Aside from that, next year I will have 1 boy in each school building, 1 in elementary, 1 in the middle, and 1 in high school. So what happens around and inside these school buildings is very, very important to me. I'm extremely proud of Highland's accomplishments over the past several years, from the retention of programs to innovative programs like the STEM, like the increased devices. They've increased the density in each of the buildings. The Highland Foundation and the work that it's done, the Highland community in general. We enjoy good relationships. We enjoy a quality of life here. I've seen the community rally around different things. And I know that it's very responsive to not just its schools, but issues within the community, the opioid crisis and other items. But along with that, I do think I see areas to improve. Was extremely grateful for the time we had with Deborah Hobb. She was fantastic, and I know she's doing great things in the school district in Long Island and in retirement. However, there are some areas to improve. First and foremost, I believe our board policies, that's kind of a goal that's escaped us. They're outdated, we need to review those. I'd like to review student opportunities. I understand very much, not only do I want to raise my boys here, I would love for them to come and be able to afford to live here. So it is a delicate balance, and it's difficult. And we don't have a lot of the types of electives and some of the opportunities that other schools do offer. But can we take steps? And we can't have it all, I understand that. But what steps can we take and we get there over time together as a community? That's my interest. We've been working, I think this board has a very, very good working relationship. There's a lot of respect. We have the spats. We talk it out, and oftentimes we come to a consensus. And I think we did that. We do that each year when we have to present a budget. But we've been working and we've been listening, both to advisors and to community members, about safety in our schools, about what steps to take with this $8 million bond, and that it's, if any, increase to the community to make these capital investments at points in time make sense. And that's something that Bernie Donegan and our financial advisors and Louise have looked at and recommend. The type of work we try to do and fund in our buildings are upon recommendations like the community committee. So we are actively listening, and it makes it difficult. You know, I get upset when there's years that Highland doesn't get aid. And then we do get aid. And the way it works out in the equation, you know, it raises the budget, and that's not something I like. But it is aid. And we got some great aid this go around. I believe it was foundation aid. That aid is stable. You can usually count on that in years forward. So I was really happy about some of the positions and opportunities that we put forward in this budget, which I fully support. The Board of Education is not perfect, but there's different models. And here in the state of New York, the community is well represented. In other states, the board just votes themselves. There is no public vote. So while it's difficult and gut-wrenching, I do believe it works. Not perfect, but in the end, I do believe it works, and I believe in the function that boards have, both within the school and the town, and the role they play. So I ask you to support me for another term on May 15th. Thank you.
Camille?
Good evening. My name is Camille Doma, and I've been a resident of Highland for 12 years. I have an 8th grader and a 5th grader that attend school in the district. I'm currently employed as an assistant principal at Haviland Middle School in Hyde Park Central School District. So I'm running for the board because I'm a mom, and I have 2 boys in the district. I want what's best for the students. I want us to be competitive with other school districts, not only neighborhood districts, but those and beyond. in all aspects of school life. That includes academics, that includes fine arts, access to technology, facilities that support 21st century students, and fine arts. My professional background has provided me with the necessary skills and experience to be a school board member. As a naval officer, I was a team player, I was a decision maker, and I gained invaluable leadership experience. In my role as assistant principal,
It sounds good, you know.
It's fine, it's fine.
Yes.
in my role as assistant principal, I continue to expand upon those roles. Additionally, during my 12 years of education, I have gained valuable insights into the inner workings of other school districts and seen the opportunities that provide the students in other school districts for both students, staff, and their families. When I talk with families, whether it's at school events or out in town at athletic events or scouts, I hear a lot of different things. So some of the things I hear about is more programs for our students, safe schools, better athletic facilities. No matter what the families are talking about, they have one common denominator. They want what's best for our students now and in the future when they graduate from Highland Central School District. So if elected, I would love to work with the board and to develop ways to make sure that our students have what's best for them now and in the future when they graduate from Highland. On May 15th, please vote for me, Camila Goma. Thank you.
Thank you, Camille. At this time, we're going to invite the public to come up for public comment. I ask that you state your name, and please, if there's other individuals that would like to speak, keep your comments short. I mean, you can come back, we'll allow that, but please be respectful of those around you that want to speak also. Thank you.
Good evening. Can you hear me all?
Yes.
Clear? Because the mic is not, the speakers are not very good. I have a few comments. So I want to start.
First your name.
Oh, you know my name. You know my name. You don't really know how to spell it. My name is Jack Marguglio. All right, Mr. Baroni. By the way, for those in attendance and for those at home, good evening. I want to start with your mission statement. And this will take in what Mr. Plataxius was talking about and several other people. Here is the mission, as stated by the board. We are a diverse group of individuals who strive to engage our community in providing quality education by lending our experiences and perspectives that will positively affect the future of each and every student within the means of the community. I'm going to come back to this every so often. We're talking here about education. And as I remember last year, around this time, the elementary students were taking the assessment, state assessment. The state assessment, I forget, was it grade 3 or grade 4 and grade 8? Well, Highland was doing in that, was just a little bit below the state average, which is, that is for Highland, even the state, it's about 40% proficiency 40%, give or take. And that's for reading, and maybe even a little bit less for mathematics. That was last year. And the Department of Ed, state, they said you cannot really compare last year's, that is the last year that we have the results, from the previous year. Which means they played around with the test. And that's why from the previous year, it did go up a little bit. But 40%, let me tell you, is nothing to brag about. That's number one. Are you familiar with the, what is called the National Report Card? Are you familiar with that? The name for it, the actual name for it is National Assessment of Progressive Schools. In other words, it is another assessment. And this is for 4th grade and 8th grade. It was given last year, last fall. And the results were just given out maybe 2 weeks ago. Grade 4, the national result. Grade 4, mathematics, 40%. The nation, schools, public schools, Mr. Bokatsius, public schools, 40%. Grade 8, grade 8, 33%. New York State is one of those states that did the same the year before as it did last year. No change. That tells you how good the public system is here in New York State. Let me just give you very quickly the reading, NAEP, reading, 4th grade, 35% proficiency. Grade 8, 35% proficiency. New York State, the 2 years, no change. That speaks a lot about the public school system. Now, mind you, this is a national, in fact, the NAEP is called the National School Report Card. That's how good it is. Now, I congratulate all the students I graduate from here. In fact, we have one here. And in fact, he's one of the very, very, very top. Salutatorians, isn't it? Congratulations. Another analysis, grade schools. They give a substantive analysis. Let me just read a little bit about it. College enrollment rates don't tell the whole story. The report reads, that's the report that I just mentioned, of students who do enroll. 68% of community college students, 68%, 2-year school, and 40% of the students in 4-year colleges, 40%, take remedial courses. Take remedial courses. I've mentioned this several times. Now other studies are confirming what I've been telling you. Again, This is a grade on the public school system. It is failing the students. I don't mean failing by grade. It is failing them because it is not providing the students what they really need. You know, I'm going back to the mission statement that will positively affect the future of each and every student within the means of the community. You know, most of the people that take remedial courses never graduate college. Never. How is this school helping? 95% graduation rate. Congratulations. That's wonderful. Of those people that graduate from here, not just here, New York State, New Paltz, Marlboro, they go to college. 40% that go to the four-year college take remedial courses. Most people that take remedial courses never graduate college. It's a fact. Now, there's a lot more that I can say, but I just want to put this all together. This past year, and Mr. Baroni mentioned it, the enrollment of this school is 1,712, 1,712 students. But that's not the whole story. The whole story starts in 2011-2012, where the population, the student enrollment in this school was 2015. Between then and now, this school has lost 305 students. Hey, that is a significant number. Significant. 305 students have gone with the families and everything else. And there's more to come. See the 4.5% increase in the taxes? And you know there's a lot of people in this community that can't even afford what they have to pay now, but you're going to give them another 4.5%. They're rich people. 4.5% doesn't mean anything, right? Right, Mr. Michael? 4.5%, that's not much. Well, you talk to the people about that, and they'll give you an earful, and they'll tell you what the truth is. Not what you believe, what the truth is. With all of this, with that budget of 45,200,000 and something, the spending per pupil right now in this school is going to be $26,000, and I'm rounding off, $26,500. $26,500. The community can't afford what they're paying now. But they're going to come up with another 2 or 3, whatever amount to pay the taxes for this coming year. Incredible. Incredible. And that is being spent on half the people going to college have to take remedial courses, and that for the elementary, 40%. And for those of you that have kids in the school here, of course they're in the proficiency group. Of course they are. But the other people that have schooling here, they're not in that 40%, in that top grade. Those kids are going to have a hard time throughout school, all the way to the senior. All the way. Once you're behind in the elementary, very difficult to catch up. Very difficult. So of the 95% that graduate, congratulations. Just make sure that you remember. When you go to college, you know that it's going to cost you because you're going to have to take remedial courses. I congratulate the board here for a great job. I congratulate the two people that are continuing as candidates, continuing the work of the board. I congratulate them. Thank you.
First, I want to welcome this Mr. Bon Jovi. You have a very nice name.
Thank you.
But you know, you're going to need all the angels in heaven to eradicate the ignorance and the malice in this school. I hope you succeed. Now, you know, I go running around and I see a lot of for sale signs. For sale, for sale, for sale. Keep going. Some roads have more than others. Then I heard it on the latest news, on the radio. 200 people a day leave New York State. 200. That's a lot of people. They're all going south. North Carolina, South Carolina, and other places. Now, since you're running, Mr. Bataxius, tell me why these people have all these for sale signs. The main reason I don't want 100 reasons. The main reason.
Cost. Employment or cost.
Employment.
Too high.
Yeah. Now, you're partly right, and mostly wrong. First, you gotta put things first. The employment, yes, they have no employment, but who's chasing out the jobs? The taxes are chasing out the jobs. The factories are leaving. They've been leaving for a long time, even IBM. You know why they're leaving? They cannot afford the taxes. Your salary, that's where the taxes go. In fact, you happen to be an administrator of some sort over here in Marlboro. So you must be having a real nice salary.
Mr. Marguglio, look up this way. Our policy for public speaking is not to poll board members. So I take offense to you pointing and polling board members. Make general statements, but don't poll
I'll
board
make a
members.
general statement.
Okay.
The general statement is that teachers and administrators are making too much money. You got 38% of the kids here who go to school here need lunch money. Now, when they hear that somebody's making $400 or $500 a day, that is sickening. I'm surprised that some of these parents or you know what they do? It's like when two dogs fight. They lose the fight, and the losing dog puts its tail between his back legs and just leaves the area, leaves the fighting area, the battleground. And that's what these people are doing. These people are leaving. All right, now, look at this. This is a town hall, town meeting. 12 people, counting myself. I talked to a lot of people. The subject, school, teachers, everything, and a lot of things. Your people are hating. You're disliked. They say bad things about you. And they're shunning you. This is shunning you right here. You know the Amish people? They have no policemen. And they shun every society, old, very effective. Now, look at the vote. 15% show up for voting. 15%. That means 85% are not showing up for voting. They're so disgusted they don't want to hear about voting, they don't want to hear about school, they don't want to hear about anything. I don't think people even realize it. You realize it? You're being shunned?
Mr. Marguglio, I had asked this question to you and your brother several times before. The individuals that you speak to, the many individuals that you speak to, I would invite them and yourself to these board meetings and be able to be constructive criticism where you can allow us to kind of communicate back and forth.
I'm going to answer you.
Let me finish. Be able to communicate back and forth and maybe develop something that's going to benefit the entire community. I take offense to you coming here and bashing each and every one of these board members. We put a lot of time into this.
People outside bash you even more. The people outside don't come, they don't have the courage.
I'm going to have.
I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of you or anybody.
I'm going to have to cut you off again.
Okay. Let me just finish. Okay.
Finish in a constructive way.
Can he just state his first name before he finishes, just for, I know.
My name is Louis Marguglio.
That's it, Louis. Thank you.
I'm going to say one thing. If people on the outside are listening, you don't like these people, shun them. But don't shun the vote. Come over here and vote no. But it's almost a little bit too late for that. When a battleship is moving, it takes a long time to start it. It takes a long time to turn it. It takes a long time to stop it. And that's what you got. You got a lot of people on the outside. They just put their tails between their legs and they just leave. That happens in my neighborhood. Thank you very much. I wish you a lot of luck, Mr. Benjovi. You got a lot of work to do here. Don't shun the vote. Come over here and vote no.
Anyone else for public comment? Okay, that'll close our public hearing, and we'll go right into our board agenda. Under acceptance of reports, be it resolved, the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, approves and acknowledges reviewing the following reports. Board of Education meeting minutes. Can I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Motion by Mike, second by Heather. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Under curriculum and instruction, our director's reports. Anyone have any comments regarding director's report?
Just always appreciate the work that you put into the year-to-year analysis as far as the food service. Thanks to Pete, that was a pretty comprehensive report there, talking about the spring and everything we're up against there. Again, very exciting to see more devices come in to the district.
Anyone else for the director's report? Okay, under personnel, we have a couple of acknowledgements this evening, but can we take personnel as a block? Everyone okay with that? Take personnel from A through D, and then we'll recognize those that are in attendance for their appointments. You good? I have a motion to take personnel as a block. Motion by Tom, second by Mike. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. And
As President Brolin and Board of Ed, I'd like to recognize, we have two people here. First, Jean Valentino. She'll be a typist at the middle school. Jean's been with us on a part-time basis for a number of years, and she has done a fantastic job at the middle school, supporting our students, supporting our administration there. So Jean, I know she's here with her husband, so congratulations and welcome. We also appointed an interim school business administrator. Again, we're very sad to see Ms. Finch leave us, but we wish her certainly the best of luck at her next position. But we welcome Emily Curry. Emily has a very strong business background in the business office at several schools and BOCES throughout the county and the general area. Recently at Ulster BOCES with Dr. Curry. So Emily is here. We welcome Emily to the Highland family.
thank you, Tom. Just to our new appointments, I just want to say congratulations. I know with both of you, your heart and soul is into this Highland Central School District, and I know you'll do the best for our students in the community. So thank you. And again, I know we said this at our last meeting. Louise, again, thank you for the last 6 years here with the district. We appreciate all your hard work, even though some people might think that it's taken for naught. But we do appreciate the budget development season. We appreciate your work throughout the entire year, and we wish you luck in your future. Thank you. Okay, Dean, you're up.
Howdy, everyone. I have quite a few announcements today. So, National Honor Society will have a meeting this upcoming Tuesday to elect next year's officers. At the meeting, we will also discuss our upcoming second spring cleanup on May 12th for the highway that we've adopted from 9W from 299 to Bay Golden Bites. Interact will be having a meeting this Thursday to talk about a few and last upcoming events, such as Springfest on May 19th, the Around the McDonald Field Trip on June 1st, and lastly, we are currently on the clock to host our big spring event, the Riverside Dinner at the Highland Inn Park, to raise money for Hurricane Maria relief on May 31st from 5:30 to 8. Interact also had an extremely successful senior citizen prom turned senior citizen dinner and show. A big thank you to Patty Stephens and Husky Helpers for making the night seamless. We had almost 80 seniors show up to a wonderful night that consisted of a delicious meal provided by the wonderful cafeteria staff. And then we moved to the auditorium to watch the High School Musical, the 25th Annual Platinum Spelling Bee. On that note, the musical was this past Friday and Saturday, and from watching it on Thursday, and it was a pleasure too, with the seniors, as well as asking around, it is my opinion and understanding that the show was a hit and a complete success and was absolutely outstanding. The senior class will be having a meeting after school on Wednesday to discuss the senior gift, the class trip, and other important events that will be coming up in the next few weeks for our graduating class of 2018. In addition, today being May 1st, the deadline to accept admissions to most colleges, I'd like to congratulate and wish all of my class members the best of luck. Mall UN also hosted their elections for next year's officer and has decided to sell t-shirts for field day to raise money for the club. Student Council will be hosting their elections on field day, which will be Friday, May 25th. We have also reached out to the middle school to see about hosting elections for the 9th graders this year as well at the middle school. The French Club has a field trip planned to New York to see Jersey Boys on Broadway on Wednesday, May 16th. The French and Spanish honor society inductions will be this upcoming Monday, May 7th at 6:30 p.m. The GSA held a day of silence last Friday for an annual day of action to spread awareness about the effects of the bullying and harassment of LGBTQ+ community. The prom was a complete success, as it had As it being my fourth and last prom in Highland, it definitely was the best and most memorable one yet. The PTSA after prom party at the Wood was also fabulous, and a big thank you to the Highland High School PTSA for providing a perfect, safe, and fun place for students to go after prom. I'd also like to add that the PTSA is looking for more members and new officers, as two of their president and vice president are leaving this year, and they worry they won't be able to continue without any new membership. So their next meeting will be May 16th. The SAD Club also put together a heartful and serious assembly with a mock car crash before prom, which was definitely impactful for all students. APs will begin next week and will continue between May 7th to May 18th, so good luck to all the students taking AP exams this year. None for me. Boo. The 5th annual Huskies 5K Challenge will be this Thursday, May 3rd at the Hudson Valley Rail Trail at the Rotary Club Caboose at 5:30. The proceeds will help support the Highland Middle School PTA. I also, lastly, just wanted to share a conversation that I was happy to have with Ms. W. Lemon about the backpack program that has stopped, sadly, and I just was hoping to maybe get some feedback if anybody has some thoughts on creating, restarting the backpack program for next year. I know Intract is interested. I'm also interested in talking to some school staff and also the Rotary Club to see if we can figure out to start the backpack program up and running for next year. And lastly, and probably most excitingly, there are 28 days of school left in actual building. So that's all. Thank you.
Any questions for Dean?
Dean, I am looking forward to you as a future leader of our country. It is sorely needed, and you are just an amazing young man.
If I could just add, and you better not need any remedial courses.
I look at getting my associate's degree this year.
That's outstanding. Please come back and take a listen. Do not show.
Okay, will do.
Yeah. Show me.
Okay, thanks, Dean.
Thank you.
Under business and operations, our construction agreement between Highland Central School District and CS Arch. Be resolved, the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, approves the construction agreement between Highland Central School District and Collins and Schofield Architecture doing business as CS Arch for the purpose of the capital project as presented to the board at this meeting. Can I have a motion, please? Motion by Tom, second by Mike. Discussion?
Just a point of clarification, that should and when the $8 million bond passes on May 15th, this is the firm that will oversee that work, design that work.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? So carried. Health and welfare contract. Be it resolved, the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, approves a 2017-18 health and welfare contract for 6 students at the cost of $903.08 per student for a total of $5,418.48 with the New Paltz Central School District, and authorizes the board president and district clerk to execute the contract as presented to the board at this meeting. Another motion, please. Motion by Heather, second by Ed. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? So carried. Sarah?
Good evening, everyone. A few things to talk about. On April 20th, we had our last half day of professional development in district. It was a very full day. Food service actually had one of the most popular comments from the from staff. They worked on soup making, and I had many teachers who contacted me to ask if they could attend as well instead of what they were doing. But I hope it went well. And then we had a BOCES content specialist come and present to our elementary teachers on the new science standards to the K through 2 grade levels to just get a big overview of what the changes are in those science standards. She will be coming back again on our May 18th full day superintendent's conference day to present to the 3 through 5 staff. So I'm excited that we did it this way, because usually we try to send people to BOCES and you send a few people one day and a few more another day, you don't really hit the entire staff. So this was an opportunity for everyone to work together to hear the same message. It was very well received. They did a lot of hands-on activities to really help the teachers understand that shift to an inquiry-based model for science. So it was very successful. At the high school, and with the high school and middle school, we had a variety. Each content area worked together, the 6 through 12 group, to address issues that are specific to their department. For instance, the social studies department really looked at the new Global History Regents exam that will be given. The transition exam is being given this year. There'll be a whole new exam next year, so they're really looking at those standards and what that's going to look like. Again, science department looking at those next-gen science standards. And really a lot of work across the board, and also the new ELA and math, or the tweaks to the ELA and math standards. So it was a very successful day all across the board, with a lot of collaborative work happening. We do have our last full day on May 18th, and Carol wrote a little bit about it in her report, but we're really excited to make it a technology extravaganza almost. It's going to be an opportunity for our teachers, other than our K1, 2, who will be doing kindergarten screening, to get to play with a lot of different technology. Carol has people coming in from Dell, from Smartboard, from, I don't remember the name of the other company with the big boards. People are going to be able to play with new smart boards, new Dell machines. We have people coming in doing augmented reality and virtual reality, and teachers, again, will have the opportunity to use that and see how it can be applied in their classrooms, among other things. So we'll send you more as we get closer to the day, but very excited about that opportunity for our teachers in May. Sue, you had sent us kind of a question about something you had seen at the BOCES Board of Education going on that theme of the new science standards. BOCES is offering a program where they bring in a content specialist and they have science kits that are really built on the model of inquiry. And part of that is that you get 6 days of coaching for your teachers so that they're really moving through the kit and learning this new process as you go. So this is the second year, I believe, that BOCES is doing a program. Last year was a little bit more of a pilot. So we're looking at it. It's, like any BOCES service, it's not cheap, because we have 6 classes at each grade level. It's about $10,000 per grade level to do one unit. So I'm looking and trying to figure out how we might be able to, even if we can do 1 or 2 grade levels next year, just so people can really get that kind of down and dirty into the standards and see what it really looks like. So we're in the process of looking through it and talking through it and seeing what we can do with that. And then I also want to echo Dean. I went to the play on Saturday night. It was fantastic. I laughed through the entire thing. They really did a nice job. The performances and music was really great. I felt like they did a nice job with the timing of the lines, and it was a great evening. Really enjoyed the, whatever it was, hour and a half or 2 hours that we were there. I was happy to see that it was a pretty decent crowd too, and it sounds like they were pretty successful in raising money to continue that moving forward, to give a good foundation for continuing that program. So I think that's all.
Questions for Sarah?
Thank you, Mr. President. Barone. As I mentioned in my presentation, this Thursday will be our second viewing of the film Not My Child. And it's unfortunately such a fitting name because we all feel that same way, but the opioid crisis does not leave anyone out. It doesn't discriminate against anyone. So it could be not my friend. It could be not my spouse. It could be not my neighbor, my brother, my sister. We all, I'm sure, know someone, either directly or indirectly, impacted by the opioid crisis. So again, I applaud the Lloyd Police Department, Chief Wage, the Highland Rotary Club, and the entire school district for the efforts that we're making here to keep our students educated and aware. No one thinks it's going to happen to them. It starts very often with an injury or a surgery on the prescription level and or experimentation on the prescription level. And then very quickly, people can get hooked on opioids or do get hooked, do get addicted, and then the prescription is done. And then the only way to satisfy that addiction is through illegal opioids. So even in our country, just legal opioids, prescription opioids. So we started this meeting at 6 p.m. It's almost 8 o'clock, so there'll be 4 people who have died of an overdose in our nation just in the time that we've been in this meeting from prescription opioids. And certainly, once we know the dangers of the illegal opioids, because there's so many other things mixed in. So I encourage all members of the public to come if you have not had an opportunity to see the film. This is a requirement for all spring athletes. There is a very close connection between sports injuries and opioid addiction. So I know it will be a successful night. Again, Chief Wage will begin the evening, followed by the viewing of the film. I do want to say again that the play was excellent. Thank you very much to all those students, faculty, and staff who helped out to make the play such a success. And then finally, it's the nature of life. It's the nature of no matter where you work, in a place of business, a school, people do come in and out of your life. And very often, you don't get an opportunity to tell someone thank you. So in the short time that I've had the opportunity to work with Louise Lynch here at Highland, it has been an absolute pleasure. She's done an amazing job in settling the waters with our budget and putting us on such a great path. So I thank her for everything she's done for the students of Highland and the community, and I know she will continue that success in her next venture.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure.
Any questions for Superintendent? Okay, moving on to the Board of Education and the new business. School bus use be resolved. The Board of Education, upon recommendation of the superintendent, approve the use of the Highland Central School 66-passenger school bus for the purpose of the annual Town of Lloyd and Highland Business Association Spring Fest on May 19th. Can I have a motion, please? Motion by Hester, second by Ed. Discussion?
I think this is a great way for, again, the school district and the community to be partners.
Yeah, I just want to thank the drivers who will be there with the bus. I think it's an awesome opportunity.
Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? So carried. Creation of new position, be it resolved, the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, approves the creation of a new position known as Senior Account Clerk Typist. Can I have a motion, please? Motion by Mike, second by Ed. Discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. Anyone that have anything under old business?
I don't know if it's old business. I just wanted to, we heard some comments this evening of that 4.45% tax levy increase, or just the increase in the budget to budget in general. I want the public to understand that a good majority of that increase was voter approved from last year. So whether that be the second half of our capital project that's up and running, or what's the other one? It just escaped me, Louise.
Yeah, it is about 2/3 of the capital project that is generating that increase.
Oh, and the bus purchase.
And the bus purchases.
So those were things that were on for approval last year. The community approved it, and it's going to be hitting the 18-19 school year. So both of those things do generate a significant amount of aid, and I just didn't want to leave that unsaid today. Thanks.
Any Anyone else for old business? Under miscellaneous, just RSVP for the Ulster County School Board Association. That's for the Friends of Education that we approved. That's going to be May 24th up in Kingston at Best Western. RSVPs by May 11th. You can email those in, and it's $40 a person. I believe we have a bunch of board members going. We'll be able to generate a table. Okay, and then the Highland Rotary, that also, RSVP is May 7th. The function is May 11th. And if you're interested in going to that, you can respond. Anything for the good welfare of the district?
Could I throw, excuse me, could I throw a question at Carol? I didn't get a chance to read your report. Oh. Okay.
Well, ask us and we'll ask for you.
She's gone. This instructional technology network, it's something new you're doing, the pilot. Is there anything that we could see as a board? I find that intriguing.
For this computer-based testing.
Yeah.
So to look at the,
Yeah, just
yes, I can send, actually.
the keyboarding program. I would just like to.
I'll talk to Carol, but I can also send you a link for the equation builder and
that's what
and
it
all
is,
of that. That's something that the state has provided to help students practice. And I just spoke with Carol today, and our third grade teachers are having our students practice that. I'll have to look at the keyboarding program. I'm not sure which one we're using, but I'll definitely have Carol get us a little bit more information on
Okay.
that.
All right. Thanks.
No problem.
Along that line, did any board member want to throw out an answer to that test question that was sent to us? I got $90. I just want to know if I was ready.
I must have missed something. Oh.
Did you do it, Heather? What'd you get?
I did not do it, I read it, but I didn't.
I did? Thanks, Tom.
We'll have to come back to it next time.
Tom Miller said I was right, so that's all set. Thanks.
Tom does everything in his head. Yep, he is. He's an amazing mathematician.
Okay, anything else for good welfare of the district? We'll open the meeting back up to public comment.
What time is the opioid meeting?
At 6:30 on Thursday.
Okay, no public comment. We'll close that and motion to adjourn to go into executive session for new hire reviews and HCSD negotiations. Motion made by Mike, seconded by Tom. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. Thank you, everyone. Good night.